everyone, and welcome to today's Facebook Live. My name is Amy, and I'm here with one of my super dogs. This is Wonder Woman. Wonder and I are definitely missing our live shows, and we can't wait to get back to performing. But in the meantime, we've been having a lot of fun helping the President's Choice Super Dogs produce some digital content. And if you have not had a chance to check that out, you should do so. You can look at our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, but don't do that now. Tonight, we want you to watch our Facebook Live. We have a great guest. If you have any questions for me about super dogs, about training, about our shows, you can put those in the comments. I'm happy to answer those. But first, I'm really excited to tell you about our guest, who is Melissa Millett. And Melissa is an amazing trainer, and she specializes in training animals for film work. And she's going to be showing you, talking to you and answering questions about that. But first, before we have Melissa on, I want to show you a video of some of her commercial work.
It's true. Humans would do anything for avocados from Mexico. No judgment. It was the 80s.
Pepper? Hey, Spike, I found you a match. No? It's okay, buddy. We'll find you a match. Brevecto. Oh, Brevecto. When it's 4 degrees Celsius and above, it's time to give Brevecto to your dog and your cat.
Brushed up, clean paws. Pete's so clean, you won't care where their paws go. Get Clean Paws Low Tracking Litter. Brushed up, we speak cat.
They're so cute.
Looks like the dogs have settled in. They can almost sniff the bum of victory. That's a good sit, a shake, and a stay.
Amazing form.
I'm sure he's making someone very proud right now.
We've got a runner.
Oh, the guac got to her. That'll land you in the penalty cone.
Oh, this is impressive.
He appears to be rolling over his 401k. Let's go down to our sideline correspondent.
Good point, Charles.
Wait, it looks like we have a winner. Give that man some guacamole.
Hi, Melissa. Welcome. That was awesome.
Thank you for having me. I saw your dog in there on the Super Bowl commercial. That was a lot of fun.
I was going to say, you noticed I snuck Retro in there. So to the audience, the Ibethan Hound in the avocado commercial was my dog Retro. And that was the first time I had worked with Melissa on a commercial. It was a lot of fun. Probably way more work than people realize in terms of the amount of time that goes into doing a commercial like that.
Like commercials are simple things in complex ways, right? Like a
Yeah,
dog.
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
There's so much going on, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How did you get started in the whole animal actor business?
This one right here, training a cat, and Kirk is an animal coordinator, and he's been doing it for 30 years. And so he's like a filmmaker. He knows how to negotiate a set. He knows how to. I'd done a couple movies before. It wasn't that fun because I didn't know that piece, so I didn't understand how to negotiate time with the actors and how to negotiate time on the set, and I didn't know what everybody was doing and how to find the washroom. It's a very confusing time. So we ended up pitching Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which we didn't get, and then we ended up pitching Pet Cemetery, which we ended up co-training the cats for, and that was our first big job. Actually, prior to that, we did Christmas Chronicles, and that was really, really cool. I mean, the first big one that I showed up was actually that one, and I didn't know who was going to be there. And when I showed up, Kurt Russell walked up to me, and I was like, "This is pretty cool."
So that's how I imagine then that makes sense in terms of how you went from having your own dogs in commercials and TV and film to your cat's doing tricks behind you, to having to casting other people's dogs and making that side of the business as well.
Yeah, what ended up happening is when I brought my animals to the set, Kirk had indicated that he felt that they were the best animals that he'd worked with in his career, actually. So that was a really wonderful compliment to receive. And he enjoyed the positive reinforcement training. He wanted to go in definitely with somebody in that direction. And then on top of that, consistently, I brought him the best dogs, like yours. And when we did the commercials, I I know who to talk to, who's got the great dogs and how to filter them and meet them and assess them. So after sending him some dogs, he said, look, I want you to be my business partner fully and open up a business together. And from there we started casting. So I cast all the dogs with Kirk. His role is that he communicates with production, and my role is that I find the animals and I communicate with people on what it is that you're supposed to practice and how you would practice.
It's a great partnership because each of you are doing what you're strongest at, as opposed to somebody trying to do it all and doesn't have a clue how you might teach a dog to go to a mark or something along those lines. So it's interesting that you started with cats first, because everybody that I know that's ever been in the business has always started with dogs and then maybe moved on to other animals. Is there any difference training cats and dogs?
Yeah, the sensitivity of the cat in a new environment. I always say at the end of the day, we have to remember that they are cats, and we have to remember that when we bring them out and keep them enjoying the environment and having a positive experience. The actual training of the cats, they're slower, so you need more patience, and you need to be more clear. I don't find it to be too different. I really enjoy the training of them, but boy, it's quite challenging with the socialization and the working in public.
Yeah, there's a video that you sent me from Pet Cemetery of the cat just walking down the street, and I imagine that that's done like in a studio. But I thought, like, even a cat walking, that's hard because they can't be distracted. They have to walk in the straight line, and it looks like such a simple skill, but I imagine it's not like that. It's not something that cats inherently do, is walk from point A to point B without the training in advance.
Yeah, they were literally walking down the street.
They were? I thought it would be in a studio. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was a long walk. So because it was a long walk, we had them on a long line, and we did every cat we had, and it ended up being Leo, not you. It ended up being Leo, and we did it in different ways. Kirk walked Leo to me, and then I was like, wait a second, it's your cat. So I walked Leo to Kirk, and I don't know which one they ended up using, but when I watched it, I was like, I'm right there.
You got left on the editing floor.
Still getting a cat to walk all the way down the street. This was summertime.
Yeah.
So
cats are distracted by like noise and the sounds of a bird. There's so many things. Like I think about cats that, unfortunately people still leave their cats outside, but you think about a cat outside, how they dart, and you rarely just see them walking down the street. Like it's not really a natural behavior for them. No,
they're terrified of cars. They're very afraid of cars. They become very timid when they're out and about. You don't see a lot of cats. If a cat walks right up to you like a dog, you're like, wow, what a friendly cat. It stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an intense amount of work leading up to that to get the cats comfortable. Just weeks and weeks and weeks to find the cats and train the cats and get them comfortable in that environment. It was quite a thing. Yeah, but I remember being very scared on the first day. I believed the training was beautiful, but when you're working cats, you're just always like,
We have a question from Alice who wondered if certain types of cats are easier to train.
Originally, I got my Bengal cat because I thought that was the case. I heard that was the case. I heard that they're like the border collies of cats, and I actually didn't end up believing that they're harder to train. I find them all to be if you go in the direction of what the animal is good at. This cat right here is like a border collie. She's very athletic and busy. And this guy right here, he likes to sit there and do stays and movie work, and he will do movements. But I didn't find anyone harder than the other. But I think just like dogs, I find them different to various types to acclimate. Mm-hmm. Where this is more of a purebred. She's more of they're known to be a bit more of a confident cat. She's more confident than a lot of cats, but she's sort of like a purebred. It's very specific. She likes the specific environment. It has to be in a specific way. And this guy, he's typical, found on the streets, confident, amazing. Relatively.
And that's sort of true with dogs too. Like you think you get a purebred dog thinking you're getting it for like certain reasons, that there's characteristics in that breed that you might like, and then it's the same thing, you end up with a dog that you get from a shelter and you're like, you're just as cool for different reasons.
Yeah, or I know, yeah, and I know what you are when you come home, when you get a puppy, you're like, I know your genetics, and I hope. And when you get an adult dog, you're like, yeah,
Yeah, we
you
sometimes
are.
I think when we get puppies, we're like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like I love Vizslas, and I have my puppy now who's 4, and they're sensitive, and then I think, am I making them sensitive because I say they're sensitive? Like if I didn't know any better, it would be easier.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have 8 dogs and 3 cats. Is that
I have
right?
3 cats, and you have 8 dogs. So we were talking about how
Yeah,
that's
it's a lucky number. And does everybody do commercial work or movie work? Or they're all trained for that?
that's a really good question, Amy. It boils down to temperament for sure. So I'm adamant that I want the animals to have a good time, which I think you agree with. I know that you guys have a lot of respect for doing things in a great way, having family pets and making sure that they live great lives as working animals. And I'm the same. This cat, I'm very limited in what I pitch her for, but at the same point, she doesn't get a lot of interest because she doesn't look like a family pet.
Yeah.
But she's not a cat that would like to sit still. She's a cat that's confident in the environments that I bring her to. But she's not, I don't know that she would be in love with being picked up or touched or things like that. So I don't pitch her a lot. Tonic lives for the movies. Like, he goes, oh my God, we're on a movie set, and he starts purring. And, he was 10 months old when we started. So I look at the personality of the animal. So they've all done things, but less for her. In terms of my dogs, I pitch 6 out of 8 of the dogs. 2 of them are sensitive. So Lollipop, I don't pitch a lot because she's very sensitive. She's confident in the places that I bring her, and I don't want to change that. So I don't pitch her. And my little gray dog, she's scared of getting picked up. So she did a Duracell commercial. She was amazing at it. But I've worked hard at building her confidence, and I don't want to mess with that. So I always say to people, it's not about wanting your dog to be an actor. It's about, is it right for your dog? Does your dog have the temperament for it that they would enjoy it?
Yeah, it's really important for people at home who want their dogs to do this type of work to think about it. I have one of my dogs is a Whippet they're Whippet. She's tremendously athletic and was really good in our shows up and coming. And then one day decided that she did not like it. And as much as I wanted her to like it, she did not want to do it. And so, I was disappointed for about 6 months going, I got this dog I want. And then I realized she doesn't want it at all. And so as a companion pet at home, she's the best pet you could ask for, is the perfect dog to go hiking with and to not put pressure on her. And so as dog owners and dog trainers, it's really important for us to be realistic and expect from our dogs what they want. If you had somebody who wanted to get into the business, everybody thinks my dog is the cutest dog. My dog could be in commercials, and it's so much more than that. What sort of advice do you give somebody who wants to get involved?
I would say look at the training more like a journey, because, sometimes I have a dog training school, and we have Hollywood classes there, and people will say at the start, I really want my dog to be a star. And I say, I want you to look at it differently. I really enjoy the training and working with my dog. And if stardom comes from that because there's opportunity, that would be really great. But the work would come secondary because you want to enjoy the journey. And I think that's the big way to look at it. But if you enjoy the journey and your dog is confident, the best way to do it is to make a training video of your dog's behaviors and submit it to us or submit it to a wrangler, animal coordinator in your area. You really want to work with an animal coordinator. It decreases the stress level in your dog significantly because and it has to be the right coordinator, obviously, that cares about animal welfare. But they know how to negotiate the set. They know how to ensure that you have all the information that you need, what you're walking into, to make sure it's the right fit for your dog.
Yeah, even when we did the commercial with Retro, there was a designated space for us to train completely, which was very large, and we had all sorts of opportunity to train what we were going to have to do for the commercial, and then an opportunity for the dogs to meet because they didn't see it in the commercial, but there was a scene where the dogs had to go with the handler and run with the handler, and we got to practice that. And so those are things that you want to make sure that somebody, because if you go in and you don't know the business, you might not speak up or speak on your dog's behalf. and say, my dog needs this. And so having somebody that can be that advocate for you is quite important.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We have a question from somebody asking if you offer mentorship for trainers. Great question.
Yeah. I think for the movie industry, that would be that's a tricky one, because it's a sort of a limited number of people on set usually, because it's the one that we did was a large space, but sometimes it's in homes or it can be tight sets. So it gets to a point where we choose the team. I have assistant trainers that we hire, so that's where people would start. They would start as the assistant trainers. So I search out people who can train. So we have a team of 2 trainers, and then we have an assistant trainer, and that would be a great way for somebody to move up. But I think the movie training would be, I think I look at a training journey the same that I would look at for your dog. And I think the starting point would be to train your own dog, really, really enjoy it. Performing with your dog, with you guys, it would be a great, because there's crowds, there's things going on, and that's what a movie set is, people staring at your dog. It's weird, right? Another way to do it would be then apprentice somebody to teach classes, and then I would do movie sets would be the last, because if we don't know how to train the dog in the moment under pressure, then it can be stressful for the animal. So I have to learn about being clear and handling the pressure. Yeah. So I think what I usually do is I reserve that for the actual trainers of the dogs, for people who have extensive experience. And then the newer people that I enjoy working with, I have them teach my classes and learn how to handle dogs and read books and train their own dogs that way. And then that's the direction that I would go.
What's the name of the class that you offer that is for movie work? You said Hollywood, but it was really quick. I didn't hear what you said.
I call it the Hollywood class.
Oh, Hollywood. Oh, that's cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us. Go. Sorry. Finish.
Yeah. It's just a great way to. So what we do is we like to, get our team of dogs, and we like to teach them what they're looking for. To go to a mark and head down. That way, when we're working with the dogs, we know that you're going to have the foundation of what we're looking for, and that we get to know the dogs as well. So that's right there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's being on the set of Fractured, and you'll notice that he was in our promo like 3 times. He was in the Avocados from Mexico commercial, and he was in the commercial with the cat. He's just, some dogs have that thing, and he seems to have that. Red dogs, red dogs.
I'm all about the red dogs, absolutely.
They look beautiful, like red dogs and orange cats. They look beautiful in film.
Yeah.
But the cattle dogs, they're so confident.
Yes.
And, it translates to set really well.
So tell us, because you've had all of these experiences, tell us maybe a most memorable, and this can be good or bad, sort of experience you've had on set. Like maybe it was memorable because it was one of your biggest accomplishments, or maybe it was memorable because it didn't go according to plan and you had to go to plan B or C, or.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm more of like a sense of humor kind of person. I guess you want to remember the accolades, but the sense of humor stuff is pretty funny. Like one of my favorite memories is when we were prepping the cats on Pet Cemetery for a murder scene, and we're like stabbing each other, and somebody's if you did that in front of your dog would be like, "Oh my God, are you okay?"
Cats are like, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, like they had no care whatsoever. And I was like, is this because the cat's bumping the computer. Is this because we're coming towards the end and you're used to all this weird stuff, or you guys enjoy murdering things? That was really cool. Actually, that photo that we were looking at with Jellybean, that was really cool because we put blood on him, and we had blood on his muzzle, and we roughed up his coat, and we went back to the hotel, and there was a interesting looking character, and he was walking around like he was trouble, and he barked at him, and he loves people. He's never done that. So he barks at this guy, and we're like, oh, that was weird. And we go upstairs and we go, oh, listen, he's still got blood all over his face. Like, what do those people think? Like, creepy mutt with blood is like, rah! We didn't even think about it. We were looking at him like that all day.
The great thing about the dogs too, or cats, when you're on set, is when you meet like as a human actor, when you meet a celebrity, you might be struck, and the dogs are kind of like, whatever, you're any other person. Like, I'm not intimidated that I'm performing with Kurt Russell. They don't care about that. That's sort of the cool thing about the cats and the dogs. They're the stars.
Yeah, but we got to take that a step further. Like when you're working with an actor, you got to be really professional. But on the studio that we're working right now, I was there and I saw Jason Momoa, and I said to Courtney Both, who's one of your teammates,
Yes.
cast members, I said, Courtney, I had a van full of dogs, and I didn't pull one out and stand there, because you know what happens when you have dogs. Everybody comes running towards you, and you speak to everybody.
I would have pulled out all of my dogs.
Hi. Sure, no, I know you love dogs. Yep, take your time. Yeah. I know.
So if you're on set with your dogs and the actors or the crew or whomever, if they're like rushing up to your dogs, do you have to do anything different in terms of like sort of treating your dog almost like a service animal and saying, okay, now we're working, the playtime is over, and my dog has to get into character, so to speak, but they have to figure it like, now I have to get down to business and do my job. Is there prep for that?
We have a no-touch rule, just because of COVID right now, but overall it helps them focus. But it depends. I have exceptions to that rule. My red heeler, I'll let people pet him as we're walking. You pet him. He's a heeler, and when it's time to work, he doesn't care about any of you. He only cares about me. But the majority of the time, we have a no-touch rule. Most people know that. Some don't. But most people know that. And then when we have a meeting at the start, we say, hey, please don't pet the dog, because then the dog thinks that they're supposed to engage with everybody and not work. But yeah, like my red heeler, for example, though, we always take him to say hello at the end to the people that have hired us, and also entertain with a couple of tricks, because it's fun to show our tricks.
Absolutely. And depending on the dog, that part can be quite rewarding as well. Like if they are a dog that's very social, getting to meet people at the end is sort of part of their reward. One of the questions that's come in is, how many hours would you spend on set with one of your pets normally?
It's usually a long day. And so this is one of the important things if you're going to have an animal in movies, is that your dog has to be comfortable being created in new environments. Because if we could go to set for 12 hours and the dog would work for maybe 2, 3, and the humans would work the entire time and the dogs would nap, so my dogs, they have no issue with traveling and napping in their crate, so that we get them a green room where they sleep in the van, and then they come out fresh and ready to go. So
they would be exhausted if somebody just tried to keep them on leash the whole time. We've had that when cast members want audition for our show, and we're the same thing. The dogs have to have a place where they can quietly relax, and so it's so important so that when they're ready to perform, that they're fresh and revitalized for sure. Now, one of the things I didn't know about you when I first met you, but is that I don't know how many you have, but you have a special skill when it comes to training dogs that were deaf. And when we were on that film set, I was amazed by the hand signals and the attention and the focus. So did you happen to get a dog that was deaf, and then you learned how did all of those skills come to be?
Yeah, actually my red heeler, he's the deaf one. Yeah. And so I ended up with Lollipop. I lost a Boston Terrier, actually. She passed in a car accident, and her breeder got this deaf baby puppy, and she asked me if I wanted her, and I said, no, I'm at Max, I don't want it. And she said, this is a special dog, I'm going to bring her to you, and you can foster her, and if you don't want to keep her, I trust that you would find a great home for her. So the family drove 4 hours each direction, and the second I laid eyes on her, I was like, that is my dog, I'm keeping this dog.
It's meant to be.
She was deaf. Yeah. So she was so wonderful. So I ended up getting another deaf dog, because I felt that they weren't that hard, of course, to train. They weren't that hard. My heeler has some issues with shadow chasing and car chasing. I imagine there's an increased attraction to movement because he's relying more on visual. But in terms of teaching, there's no issue. And my, thanks, Sashimi, my Lollipop is amazing. She's 1 in a million.
So what would you say is the biggest misconception that people have about the industry that you work in?
I think a lot of people that have cute pets want to be in the industry, and I don't think that's a fit for them. I think if a dog is trained, and a performance dog, that works out in the world, that's out all the time, that has people staring at them. They can really enjoy themselves because they enjoy the job, right? Like you could see my healer in the Brevecto commercial. Yeah. That's a true smile. He loves every minute of it. But if it's a pet dog, they've not experienced the same things as a working dog. They don't get put in crates. They don't go out for these long hours. And it becomes a stressor. And that's not a fun time for them or for you. You would regret it when you get there. So that's why we say, the journey is really important.
Even like things that I think that people don't even assume, like you have a cute dog, but you think like on set, like working with an actor and not looking for your mom or dad the whole time. And when I was watching the video of Pepsi, there's so many that, and we posted the video of Pepsi the other day on our Facebook page of just doing some behaviors. And there's so many little behaviors that a dog would do in a commercial that people, I think, don't even realize are happening. And that's the sign of, I think, of a good animal actor, is a dog that's, when it's not sort of the star of the shot that's happening, but laying on a bed and the eye line is correct, and the dog moving its head subtly, or like just these little things like the look down that you had, or looking up at the other person, like all of those things that I think that people, I don't think they realize the amount of training that goes into a subtle behavior, let alone something like a cat walking down a street. Like I think that people don't realize maybe the amount of work that it is.
Yeah, I mean, even teaching a dog that's working to look relaxed, I mean, they're excited to work, and you want to teach them to lay down and relax. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think even a dog just sitting and staying is tough, because there's 70 people watching, and it's a very strange environment where, there's a lot of movement, and then everybody stops.
Yeah.
This area comes alive, and then they stop, and then this area comes alive. So they're like, what is going on? And the camera's coming in. So there's a lot more to it than you think. Your stay would have to be exceptional, but your dog's confidence level would have to be really, really good. So yeah, I think you captured it perfectly when you say it's simple behaviors in complex ways. And when you watch it, you get a whole understanding. You're like, wow, the dog did that 25 times. With the handler in sight, without looking at the handler, also not even looking at the camera,
I imagine the one of the things that differs from the work that you do from the work that we do is the amount of repetitions. So like we go and we perform a show, or even when we're training, like we're doing a 30-minute show, and there's usually 25, 30 dogs in our show. So each dog has a very small role, and there isn't the repetitions. One dog doing a movie, because even if the dog does its job perfectly, there's so many other variables, actors and things like that might go wrong, that you have to have a dog that can do repetitions. I guess you have stunt doubles or doubles of the same dogs or cats, so that you're not relying so much on one if they have to do that much work.
Yeah, like for Pepsi's character, there's 3. But generally, what happens is that one dog usually ends up getting into the zone and playing all of it, but we have the others just in case he doesn't feel like it. But yeah, you have 3 just in case, because you don't want to get in a position where you're making the dog perform when they don't want to. So we do that as a safety, so that if the dog doesn't want to, we'll just, okay, you don't want to do it, we're going to go grab Ziva, we're going to go grab Wrigley now. And then if it's a commercial and there's a different budget, with a commercial, there's not the opportunity to have doubles. What we do is we would say, okay, that's a lot of repetition. You're going to want to have the red healer, because this is a guy that would work all day, and he's got a lot of experience, and we know how he's going to behave. Or my 7-year-old Boston Terrier. I've done multiple commercials with her, so I have a pretty good idea of the way that she's going to behave, yet I'm going to bring this other dog just in case she isn't well that day or she isn't feeling it. And in that case, you just, you're just going to go with your tried and true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that just before we spoke today, you were at a set. Do you have any exciting projects that you can tell us about?
I'm never allowed to say.
Yeah.
Remember when we did the Super Bowl commercial?
I was like, I think I'm not good at keeping secrets. It's one of the only secrets I've kept in my whole life. And my family was grilling me at Christmas time because it wasn't coming out till January. And I'm like, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you.
Yeah, like I was dying to tell everybody. And I was like casting you, and I was like, and there's some people were like, I can't make it. And I was like, trust me, you want to make it. Anyway, then we came in, and we came into the back, and I was like, can I tell him? Can I tell him? And it's the Super Bowl commercial, which is such a it's like one of the biggest things you could
And
do.
it aired in the, like when I finally was able to tell people, they're like, "Oh, in Canada," I'm like, "No, this is airing in the States." Like I remember telling a retro reader, I was so proud. It was such a great moment.
Yeah, and it was on greatest Super Bowl commercials of all time. That was really cool. Anyway, I'm working on Titans on Netflix.
Oh,
So
very cool.
that's really cool. It's our third season, and Pepsi plays Crypto the Super Dog, and then we have a couple other fun little projects. We have another series we're pitching, and we have so many commercials on the go. We like to work with your cast member Courtney Voth a lot. She does movies. She's phenomenal. We worked on Fractured with her, and I just love her. She's so talented. She's also a crazy cat lady.
Yes.
And the Titans is a big ongoing project. So that's our biggest one. And then we get one big one, and then we take on the commercials. But the commercials are going really, really well. And I really like the commercials because it's really neat. You know what you're going to do. And then that's when you can make the dog the right fit and get different challenges. And it's different every day.
So I know you've trained cats and dogs. What other animals have you trained, or do you want to start training for movies? Do you have any like animals that like are a dream for you to get into a commercial or movie work?
I like sticking with cats and dogs because I like because I have them here and it would be a lot to travel. But we did the Blue Bunny commercial for the States, the Blue Bunny ice cream.
Okay.
And Kirk called me up and he said, okay, we got a problem. They can't bring in these bunnies from LA. We got 7 days to train these bunnies. Are you interested? And I said, I'm up for the challenge, but I've never had a bunny. I don't know what bunnies eat. I don't know how to care for bunnies. There's a lot of learning that needs to happen in 7 days. So we took Courtney from Winnipeg, and she worked with us on the bunnies because she has a bunny. She's trained bunnies. She knows about bunnies. So we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining.
I would love to try birds, and I think I'd like to try it all. If I could, if I had them here and I had the facility and the
I think that you have to be able to have them with you and able to get the little bit of training in like several times a day as opposed to trying to just do it once or twice.
Oh yeah, because if you have to travel to them, Kirk's my business partner specialty is livestock. So he grew up on a ranch and he started with horses, and so he specializes in horses and any kind of livestock, which is really cool. We did a goat commercial that was really neat. I never got to see it. It was for Jim Beam. And I like the challenges.
I imagine that the industry has grown and improved leaps and bounds. Like when you talk about livestock, like I imagine the way that animals are treated on set has improved dramatically from the way it was, many years ago. That now our animals are protected and they have advocates and somebody speaking up for them. And I think that's so important.
For sure. I mean, because every time we're on a set, the American Humane Association is there, or some kind of animal protection agency, and they're there and they work with you so that you can say, I would say myself, I'm not my dog. I don't want my dog to do that, or my dog's stressed. We're going to stop and you're going to use a different dog, or you just advocate for your dog. But even if it's something slight, that you're thinking, I just want somebody to back me up to communicate this, then they're there as your team member. They're there to make sure that the animals are cared for, but they're also on your team when you love your animals.
Yeah, which is a better way to look at it than as opposed to working against you.
Oh yeah. But then you get to joke and you go, "See, I'm watering my dog."
Yeah.
And you're like, "This is my beat stick," and no.
I think you probably get to know some of them, and then they're like, "Oh, it's Melissa. Everything's going to be fine. We don't have to worry."
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great teams out there, but they love working with us because it is positive reinforcement. It is dog-centered. So we're about building the dog's confidence and finding the right dog for the job, so that we're not forcing a dog. We're not going to make the dog do it. We don't wing it. We train it. We don't do family pets unless we had to. But we would say, okay, we have to prepare the dog. So we do all the work to make sure that the animals aren't stressed. Yeah. Because I imagine if you're in their shoes and you're having to advocate for it, it's just nice going to work going, okay, this is going to go well and the animals are going to be treated well.
Yeah, easier for you and easier for the dog.
For sure. Yeah. And the product, because the animal looks confident. Yeah. And you want a confident, happy animal to promote your product.
Yeah. Well, I've gone overtime. I apologize, Melissa, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. That was great, and I think people at home probably learned quite a bit.
For sure. Yeah, thank you for having me, and it was a lot of fun chatting.
Thank you. For our April Facebook Live, we're going to have one of our Superdog cast members on with her Superdog, Seiko, who's gone above and beyond to help people. She has a dog that is a blood donor. I have a dog at home that is a blood donor recipient, so I have a personal connection to this interview, so I hope you can join us. That will be the first week of April. That's all the time that we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We always encourage people to please check out our Superdog content on our Facebook page or our YouTube page so you can get more information. And we'll also be posting about our upcoming live shows on our website so that when we get back to live shows, you'll be the first to know. But until then, of course, remember to love your dog, play with your dog, and communicate with your dog. Thank you so much. See you next time.